At the beginning, everything was white. And then, in God's deepest dream, there was a spark of fertility. Pachamama was birthed in time and space. And the earth school, our home, was created. And the fertility goddess Pachamama opened her arms for our place to learn our lessons.
Hey, hey!
Hello. Welcome to the Sam Bell Show. I'm Sam Bell. This show is produced by spiritualmag.org. And today we are going to talk about what's the Pope got to do with it? So this is June 13th, I think today, June 15th, 2024. And on the 29th of this month, I will be 75 years old. So I've carried this with me for quite a few years as information, and I shared it with just a few people, less than a handful, trying to get information on what the whole story is from their perspective. So this is a banned video. And I'm not going to hold back. I'm going to say exactly what occurred. Now, there's going to be things that were observations and heard, and then there's going to be things that were my perceptions, and then there's going to be things that what I felt. And so I will do my best to try to supply that information as I go forwards. So this is a banned video. What's the Pope got to do with it? So some background. 1996, I was a speech and language pathologist, California license. I was doing private practice in New Zealand and in Los Angeles, actually California. And I had a patient about a year earlier, and he said his daughter was a psychic, Sylvia Celeste Brown, and I didn't, I figured that's, I don't know. Actually, I kind of upset me because he was a personal friend at this point, and why would he share something, that's, it's impossible. So 1996, we were advancing a few years here, and I'm a minister in training. It's at MIT with Nova Spiritus, which is Sylvia's organization. And I had a reading from Sylvia, and she offered to train me as a minister in training at no charge, I was kind of amazed at that. And so she was the real deal, just like her son is. Okay, you can find her son, Sylvia Brown's son, Chris Dufries. He's the real deal. So in 1996, September 21st, as a minister in training, she requested all the ministers to come to a special meeting that evening, and I went. And she is a full trance channel, so her heart stops when the other entity enters into her physical vehicle. And Rahim came through. It was very exciting. It's a completely different energy, profound energy, let me say that. And I had some information with Rahim. I'm skipping a lot of things here. Anyway, at this point, there's no question it's real. There's absolutely no question. There's no question. There's, what she's talking about is all accurate. Not from my perceptions, or what I heard, but what I experienced and saw and what actually happened in the third dimension. Okay. So, one quick example. I had my questions when I went to go see her written down on a piece of paper in my pocket. And the last question my sister, Auntie Joan, asked said, ask her what your lotto numbers are. I thought, okay, so, I'm kind of like on a spiritual rampage at the moment, but okay. So at the end of the reading from Sylvia, she smiled and she said, you're not going to win the lottery, Sam. Now, I haven't showed her the question or asked the question. She goes, you're not going to win the lottery, Sam, but your numbers are 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 45. I thought, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 45. Well, I'm 45. So she guessed my age and this 4, 8, 12, she's just counting by fours. I thought, big, what the hell? Okay, so that's when I first met her the first time when I got to reading. Uh, this is all telepathic also. This is telepathic. Her lips aren't moving. Her lips moved at the end. Okay, but at the beginning, her lips didn't move. And I didn't know that her lips weren't moving, but I was hearing the words because she does it so well. Actually, I got agitated when I saw that it was telepathy because as a speech and language pathologist, work with communication impaired, it's a simple solution to a lot of problems if you're telepathic. Okay, so September 21st, 1996, Rahim comes in, blah, blah, blah. I go home. I'm in bed about maybe 3 o'clock in the morning, 2:30, close to 3 probably. And I needed a toilet. So I got up, went in the toilet. And then as I'm walking back to the bed, I had a feeling in my chest. You know, when you get a cramp in your lower calf, that feeling just before the cramp occurs, I had that feeling in my chest. And it didn't frighten me, but I was wide awake, big time. And as I laid down on the bed, it wasn't I laid down on the bed and this light shot out. As I laid down on the bed, totally alert, totally conscious, a light came out of my chest. It started from the right side and went this way. And it was a circle of light. So it started with just part of the circle came in on this side. And then it came on one whole circle right here. And then right there in the center was a circle of light. So there was no light. The circle merges over this way. And then this light came out. It came out when it came out through me here, in context. It wasn't separate from the big circle. Now, I'm trying to describe something that occurred. So bear with me. It felt like, if you had like two circles that were identical, like say two circles, it's called a point within a circle. If you had 2 points within a circle and you just put one inside the other, that's what it felt like. But I only saw the light come in on this side. Okay. Now, back up an instant, not in time and space, but what happened first was as soon as I sat on the bed, as soon as I started to lay back, before the light started to come in, on my right side up high came something I would say if you take a German Panzer tank and you constructed it out of thunder and lightning. Okay. So it's a German Sherman, correction, a German Panzer tank going over, speed of light. And lightning was coming out and then it was going sucked back in. And the clouds were coming in and out and in and out. So it was kind of like rolling. All right. And it came from this side. And then the light started to come out of my chest. Okay. I can't describe it in terms that Earth pilgrims can really understand, but that's what happened. Went to heaven, blah, blah, blah. Got a blessing. I'm leaving out a whole bunch of stuff. And everything changed right there on the spot. Everything different. Got a blessing to communicate with my guardian angel Daisy. I asked about what's going to happen in the United States, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So that morning I walked over to my mom's house. She was in the kitchen in a robe, drinking her morning coffee with the San Jose Mercury News, like she does every day. And I don't usually stop in there. So, oh, Sammy's here. And I told her what happened. I told her everything that happened in that episode. And she said, Sammy, you need medication. Don't tell anybody. You'll lose your medical license. Don't tell anybody. They'll come get you. So I'm like, no, mom, it's the truth. It's the truth. I'm not going to lie to you. It's the truth. That's why I'm here telling you this. Welcome, Sam Bell, Spiritual Mag, banned videos. That's right. This is information that would be banned anywhere else because it'll rock the cart. But that's too bad because modern technology, Fernando and I can put out information that's accurate. It can make your life change. It can help everything move forwards with peace and quiet and everyone elevating their consciousness because it's a whole new thing and nobody else is going to put it out there. Nobody else is going to stick their neck out. It's dangerous to do this. That's why it's banned. So you're here because you're supposed to be here. You've got courage. This information, trust me, is going to make your life better and the lives of your loved one. I promise you this. You and all your loved ones are always in my prayers. Okay, so I get this blessing to communicate with my guardian angel, blah, 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 10 years, 15 years, whatever. Still doing it. Now, 1997, 1997, no, 2017. 2017, please pay close attention. 2017, it's before sunrise. I'm in Cusco, Peru with my lovely wife, Blanca. She's born in Cusco. And we're waiting for the rest of the, quote, group to get into this really cool Mercedes bus. We stayed in a 5-star hotel. It was great. Olay Travel in California. You want a good service? Contact Olay Travel. I think that's San Bruno, South City. Okay. And so we're up there early and it's in the dark and, stuff's loaded in the back. We're out there with our ski jackets or whatever. And we got to wait for like, half hour or something for everybody to come out and get in the bus to go up to Machu Picchu. So she goes, well, let's see. I think my house is around here where little girl, let's look for it. So we walk up the street. She thought it was on the street we were on because the buildings are all like blocks. And then the blocks are just these old ancient blocks. And so one street kind of looks like another street. So I think it's high elevation, Cusco. It's higher than Machu Picchu. So we walk up the street, we walk to the end of the street, we make a right, we go down another block, and then we start coming back the other block. So it's totally isolated. There's nothing going on. Everybody's asleep. And everything's stone. And we're walking back down because we're going to just make a big block and walk and get back to the van, Mercedes, tourist bus thing. So we're walking down, and on the left, she sees her house. She goes, that's my house I grew up in. I go, cool, right? So it's dark, and but there's a light on in the patio. There's a patio. You go through the doors, this kind of traditional Peruvian, guess that. And then there's a patio, and then on the other side is a hallway and space for kitchen and stuff, I guess. So we're standing in the street, and she's telling me about what it was like, and a little Peruvian housekeeper. You'll see them by the thousands. She's going by with this broom. It's almost as big as her. And she's inside the place, and she's sweeping. They sweep out all the dust out of the street. And she looks at me and she goes, are you Sam? I said, yeah. I'm like, well, how in the hell did she know my name was Sam? She takes off and beelines it back of the patio and makes a right at the hall and goes that way. Pretty soon, a little short guy comes out. He's all excited. He's putting on a sports coat, sports coat-ish, and says, are you Sam? I go, yeah. He really buzzes back and hangs a right. And then a tall guy comes out with a black jacket. He's like maybe it's close to 7 feet tall, maybe 50. He goes, "Are you Sam?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "We got to say a prayer." I'm like, "Cool." Now by this time, I got to pee. So I'm thinking, okay, I'll talk to this guy for a second. I don't know what's going on, but maybe he'll use the toilet. Okay. So right away, he starts saying, doing it in Spanish, and he's praying, I think, to Mother God, because we talked about Mother God. Okay. And I'm doing my basic meditation I do all the time, which is a Gnostic prayer. I surround myself with the white light, emerald green, marble shell, and then the golden cape of our Lord, and then the magenta purple of Mother and Father God. And I'm going to blessed be the name of Father God, blessed be the name of Mother God, blessed be our Lord Jesus the Christ, blessed be all the archetypes that protect us, blessed be all our spirit guides, blessed be um, those of us now present, blessed be our loved ones not present, the Rem Shem Besadal Sacrivili and Ahad. And then I add my own last little prayer. I am calling to myself a spirit guide who will teach me to be Christ-like, who will teach me to heal, who will teach me new technological knowledge, who will teach me to change the world through love. I am calling to myself a spirit guide who will teach me to be Christ-like, who will teach me to heal, teach me new technological knowledge, who will teach me to change the world through love. I am calling to myself a spirit guide who will teach me to be Christ-like, who will teach me to heal, who will teach me new technological knowledge, who will teach me to change the world through love. Okay, now it's time to get on the van. So I go, "Can I use the toilet?" I use the toilet. And then, "Oh, thank you, thank you." And they're like, "Bye." I'm like, "What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? How did they fucking know my name?" Now, the night before, I channeled the angel for the bartender at the hotel, and we were the only ones around. They were going to show you, it was a free pisco tasting for the residents, for the people staying there. So we went there, and I don't drink, but Blanca will appreciate pisco. So I thought, well, maybe this guy told these guys. I'm thinking that's the only way they could have known me. But why would they tell the housekeeper? What's going on? I'm like, this is a very sophisticated con. I'm thinking, man, these guys, what they'll do for American tourists, they're so desperate for bread, because there's a lot of people who are impoverished like you can't comprehend. Okay. In the jungle, you can go kill something or catch a fish or something, but on the coast is the kind of the desert. So this is in the jungle, but then in Lima, Peru, it's 10 million people. So there's a lot of people that are got lots of bread and everything's cool. And then there's a lot of people that have zip. They got the fish they catch in the ocean and the sun and not much more. They all got cell phones though. Okay. So, okay. Bye bye. Okay. So we get in the van, go up Machu Picchu. Oh, it's great. Blah, blah, blah. And we come down. I'd say we get back. It's after 10 o'clock at night. Okay. The van pulls up. We're getting out. We're burnt, all burnt, man, back up in high elevation. And there's the middle guy, the little short guy. He wants to give me an award. Oh, man, what a con. They must do this to all the people, or what the fuck? I don't know. So I'll go, okay. So he hands me this medal, and I'll include the picture of it. And this, it's like a thing you put on the wall, Machu Picchu channel, blah, blah, blah. So he's treating me like, I need 10 home loans and he's a bank loaner, the bank guy that gives the bank loan. So he's like, yeah, anything he can do, right? But I'm feeling he's authentic. And I'm feeling this is difficult to comprehend. It really, really is. It's difficult to comprehend, but I know what's happening. And Blanca's here, and this is Cusco. So I don't know. Plus, I'm in high elevation. And when you land, the plane lands, you're like, ugh. So it's not easy. And then you'll see people walking down the street with a canvas sack filled with coca leaves, and they'll be chewing the coca leaves. It looks like they've been chewing coca leaves for a long time. Okay. So his name's Guillermo. That's all I know. Guillermo. Okay. Go back to my place. We have a lovely apartment in Marina del Rey, correction, in Miraflores, Lima, Peru. If you go to Peru, you're going to go to Machu Picchu, obviously, or you're going to do some ayahuasca thing. Go to Miraflores. Go downtown LA. Go downtown Lima, and go to Miraflores. Miraflores is cool. It's a nice place for tourists. It's really really nice. Okay, so phone call. Well, some guy in Spanish. I'm like, Blanky, what's this? And she goes, oh, that's that man. She's like, be careful, be careful. And so he wants, it's Petey. It's okay, Peter. So he wants to come talk to me. I'm like, well, okay, you know, sure. What am I got to lose, right? So he comes over and he says, we're going to do a UFO conference and we want you to speak at it because we call in a UFO. I'm like, okay, cool. It's like, 6 months away or something, or a year away or whatever. I'm like, okay, cool. And he's got some, paperwork, and he prints up that paperwork, and it's the same thing's been going on for, I don't know how long, but it's been going on for a while. They call it a UFO. So I'm like, cool, you know. So I think the next week, a profound flood occurs. They've got this hills, and then there's the high jungle, a low jungle, and then there's the jungle, right? And then there's these big old mountains. So on the coast, it's desert, literally a desert. Okay, so Miraflores looks beautiful and there's plants and stuff, but you go north or south, you're just gonna drive for hours in the desert. Okay, a desert. So, okay, so I'm like, okay, so Blanca's like, don't sign anything. I'm like, don't give him anything. I'm like, okay. So the guy shows up and he's like, we had a profound flood in Trujillo. It's the second largest city in Peru. And you can see it on TV. They have on TV, they have the same technical equipment, but the journalism and the media content is Peruvian. So they'll have something that's a great scene, and they'll put it with another great scene, and then another great scene with somebody fighting or a theft or whatever the hell it is, and then they'll play that over for an hour. So okay, so we've seen the floods and people are stuck on top of buildings and people swept away. Houses gone because you got these people that it's not a house like you think it's a house. It's like a really good cardboard box with bricks and cardboard, maybe tin, maybe a couple buckets, clean clothes. It's a rough time. And then someone in that immediate community has got these big old pots that they cook a bunch of food in with burners under them. And then they kind of like share food, make food for each other. Basically, the ladies are trying to keep the communities alive. No water, no agua. There's like, you want water, you're going to buy it. You're going to go get it somewhere, whatever. Okay, so he goes, they need spiritual help. Will you go? I go, yeah, of course, sure. So I hustle and find a cameraman producer, Jared. Okay, Jared. He's an excellent photographer and producer too. And I want to document what's going on because when I went to heaven, nobody believed. He thought I was fucking nuts till they see me on TV and they see stuff happen on videos and they go, well, it's real. They don't believe it till they see it on the fucking TV. Excuse my French. So I just started documenting everything I could. So I go, well, I'll document this. Who knows what the hell, what the hell. So, okay, so the plane flies out of Lima International Airport and it flies about an hour. It's about an hour by plane to Trujillo, north. Trujillo's on the coast also, more or less. And okay, we have reservations at the hotel, whatever, blah, blah. I don't really know what's going to happen. We just got there early in the morning. I just want to take a shower and put on my clean clothes because I know I'm going to speak to somebody or something's going to happen. I don't know. I really don't know what's going to happen. So I'm focusing on trying to find a decent cup of coffee. Okay, it's early in the morning. They don't have like, 7-Elevens or fast food places. It's not going to happen. So in the center square, Peru has a city or a town, and then they got the city square. So anything that's going to happen is going to happen in the city. A beauty contest, exhibition of anything, a cooking competition, and it's going to be in the city square. And the city square is not like, big beam lights and stuff. It's just a cement with rocks and some flowers and, plants and stuff, maybe some trees and cement. It's not, there's not much, iron and cement and bricks, blocks, not red bricks, but blocks from the sand. So I come to the corner, I'm looking for a coffee shop, and I see there's a poster of me about 10 feet wide and about 10 feet tall on the outside of the Municipalidad, which is the main governor's building where they're going to have a big meeting. I'm like, fuck, the fuck's that about? And I can't read Spanish, right? So I'm thinking, look at that. Okay, so I never find a decent coffee because nobody's open that early. But somebody's in there doing this stuff. I'm like, here we go. So Jared speaks Spanish, obviously. He's from Peru. He's a Lima person. So he tells me, well, this guy Guillermo just said you're going to be doing some TV shows and radio shows. Like, cool. I can't hurt. I'm here to connect with people to help them elevate their consciousness. So we go to the Municipalidad, and there's maybe it's kind of like a church, to be honest with you. I'll include the picture, but it's kind of has a churchy feeling, and big building. It's probably maybe the biggest building in Trujillo, about the size of, I don't know, a really big high school gym or university gym. It's about that size. So I walk in, I'm feeling kind of funny. I'm looking, this is a holy water thing anywhere, or what's going on, So I walk in, and there's all these people in there. Not that many, maybe 150 people. This is, bright and early in the morning. And there's Guillermo. So he's doing some kind of thing with the audio recording thing and the microphone. I don't know what he's doing because he doesn't speak English. And I don't, my Spanish, I just get into trouble. So Guillermo brings me to this guy who introduces himself as a psychologist. And this guy's like maybe 30. And he's talking to me. Now, I immediately assume he's a Jesuit or a priest, but I'm assuming he's a Jesuit just by the clothes he's wearing, the way he phonates, and he's completely out of the league of the regular person who's walking around with a bunch of llamas, like the animals and stuff. He's, fine wool stuff, even though it's casual fine wool stuff. So I'm like, well, that's interesting. This is not that con, I don't think, because this is a real setup because they don't have guys like that. You got people that are flaky. You kind of feel they're flaky. Well, this psychologist guy's not flaky. As a matter of fact, I think he might introduce himself as a Jesuit or a priest. I think he said he was a priest. He didn't have a collar on though. Okay, so I do the event, blah, 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 and, do healing stuff and elevate consciousness and bring them through guided visualization, meditation. It's very, very wonderful. It's wonderful. Okay, so now most of these people have lost a loved one. Could have been a dog. It could have been their whole family. Because what happens is the place is dry as a bone, and then every 15 years, some giant flood happens in the mountains, and it just comes down, and everybody's built where the down part is, and it's just like, so you might have seen a video of a lady stuck in a flood being pulled out. It's horrible. Anyway, so these people are suffering. And I'm, trying to explain, life is a school, and, the more difficult your life is, probably the more spiritual you are. These are lessons that you charted to learn about compassion or not judging, or learning that you can judge someone's actions, but you can't judge their soul. Divine Creator made their soul. And we're here just briefly. We're here on the earth as a school, then we go back to our real home, which is heaven. And the more you can tolerate unconditional love and compassion, the higher up you go into heaven. It's unlimited. Okay. Now there is a creator, and creator manifested this universe. All the subatomic particles are conscious and know what to do, just like you. Okay. You're not thinking about what your blood's doing or how to make your eyes blink. It's just automatic. Okay. So, and I'm using uh, oil, pure virgin olive oil to do anointing of people. And it's nice. It was a big deal for the people there. Blanca did an excellent job translating. Okay, so I'm like, well, that was easy because I didn't. I just said to Guillermo before I left. I goes, well, what should I bring you? He goes, wear white. That's all he said. Wear white. Okay, Blanca, what? Blanca. Okay, Blanca. So I walk outside, and then all hell breaks loose. I go to 3 television shows. They just, hello, Mr. Bell, blah, 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 blah. And we sit right in, we sit down, there's the people talking to us and whatever. I do a reading for the girl. Then afterwards, the producers all want the reading. And then I go to another TV show and I go to another TV show. What happens is the people at the TV show all want readings and blah, blah, blah. And I do 2 radio shows all on the same day, 2 radio shows. So I'm like, but it's not, it's laid out, this downtown is, I don't know, maybe 5 miles square, because this is where the businesses are. But these are the head TV shows. These are the main TV shows. And they've been running advertisements I didn't know ahead of time. Okay, so I'm kind of like, well, what's going on? This is the strangest thing I've ever seen because I've been trying to get people to listen to what I'm talking about. Nobody will listen to shit. And now this guy's showing up with, I'm the hot ticket for what's on TV and on the radio. And I'm not talking to the low life radio guys. I'm talking to the hardcore spiritual women and men that are trying to help Peru, especially Trujillo after this flood. And nobody's faking it. Maybe one, went a little bit overboard on, saying I'm so great and stuff. But so at the end of it, I'm like, wow, thank you, Daisy. Because I'm saying, Daisy, please help me with this stuff. I've been asking Daisy. Okay, so at the end of the day, at the end, when it was over, we went to an Italian restaurant. Man, it was good. Really good. Right off the square, east, about 2 blocks on the left-hand side. If you ever go to Trujillo, that's the place to go. So Guillermo says, no, we're not flying back the next day. Okay, we're there a couple of days. So, all right. So that evening, when we get done, Guillermo goes, okay, so tomorrow we're going to go to Black Rock Beach and do some stuff because we're going to call in the UFO. And I'm like, Black Rock Beach. Huh. Now, at the time, I was hanging out a lot in Tampa, and Tampa has Hard Rock Cafe. Okay, so you go in there and steak or hamburger or fries, all the ketchup you want, coffee, beer, whatever the hell, and something to do. So I'm thinking, Black Rock. Well, that sounds pretty good. We're going to go to Black Rock. I can finally get a fucking cup of coffee when I need it. Excuse my French. So, okay, in the morning, we pile in this, let's say about a 74 Toyota wagon that you never see in the United States, but they've got them in Peru, and it's all beat to shit. So we get in it, and there's a driver, there's Jarrett, there's Blanca and myself and Guillermo. So Guillermo, the 4 of us are in the front 2 seats with a bunch of luggage, and Guillermo's in the back, laying on top of luggage with the big thing shut. He's kind of like sitting in it. So I'm thinking, man, this guy, what's going on? That's not really kind of normal. I mean, maybe if you're used to riding horseback a lot, you could do that. But okay, so we drive and drive and drive and drive, and then drive and 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 drive to Black Rock Beach. So there's the paved road, and then there's a dirt road that goes that way towards the beach. but there's nothing over there really. It looks like there's some shacks, maybe. This is maybe a mile and a half from the highway or the paved road. And I'm thinking, oh, fuck, what the fuck? Can't get a fucking cocaine in anything. Where the fuck are we? There's nothing here. They don't even have sugarcane fields anymore. It's like nothing. Okay, so he pulls in right away. There's a little, adobe place on the right, and on the left is a little restaurant place. The restaurant place is cement slab, barbecue somewhere, no refrigeration, get a Coke and sit in a white plastic chair. Anyway, so I'm kind of like pissed. What the fuck is this? So the place is a little, adobe place on the right. He knows them, and they've been coming to this place every year, and they call it a UFO, and that's cool. I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is the most sophisticated con or the craziest thing I've ever been through. I'm like, what the fuck? Now, Jarrett, who's wise, is like, this is not good. We're out here in the middle of nowhere. We don't know what's going to happen. And Blanca's like, don't get robbed. Be safe. Now I got two big knives and a metal cane. Now I got a big knife and a medium-sized knife to kind of, get them open and run, scream, and a K-bar cane. So I'm walking around with a K-bar cane, two knives, and there's no cops. You're not going to get help from anybody. You're out anyway. So the restaurant guy, I channel his angel, a very profound channeling. He's a patriarch of the family. He's just trying to keep the place glued together, Again, it's cement, walls, white plastic chairs, a table on the outside on the patio, and light fixtures and a Coca-Cola and refrigeration machines, but they're not working. I don't know if the light was on at night. Probably that light would work at night. It went over the patio where the table was. But the coolers and stuff, they were working. So he goes, Guillermo goes, we're going to go, I think he said 7:30 or something. It was just when it got good and dark, like this background here. And I'm like, okay. So everything's coming to me through translation, right? So I'm like, oh, okay. 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 So there's no place to go. You can want to stand in the dirt, or you can go sit in the plastic chair across the street. So we go over there, and money's no object when you're American there. So the guy, I channel his angel and get a Coca-Cola, and we order a chicken. Chicken. What do you got? Chicken. Okay. So he orders his mother-in-law to go kill a chicken and pluck the chicken. So we're all there. We're just sitting there. What are you going to do? There's nothing to do, no radio, TV, or anything. Okay, so we eat the chicken and we're sitting there and it's sitting there, blah, blah, blah. So eventually it's dark. Okay. And I forgot that we were sitting there, what was going to happen. I was just kind of like zoned out. I'm like, oh, fuck. I like, So he goes, oh, we're going to go. Now's the time. Yeah, now's the time. I'm like, what? He goes, oh, UFO. Guillermo, Jarrett's translating. So he's ready to go. He's in the street. He's like, let's go. Like, oh, okay. So Jarrett's going, you're going to get robbed. You're going to get robbed. And Blanca's like, you're going to get robbed. Be careful, man. You're going to get robbed. Be careful. I'm like, oh, shit. So the restaurant's here, the little adobe place here. Then there's the dirt road that goes out this way. And at the end of the dirt road, which is about maybe quarter mile, a half a mile from the water, there's a light bulb on a thing. Okay. That's the only light. Okay. So we're walking towards the light bulb. All right. Now, I'm relatively brave. So I was a little bit concerned. I mean, I hunt wild boar with a pistol, 45. And once you go to heaven, like I did with the light coming out of my chest, you're not afraid of death. Seriously, your ego just evaporates like a marshmallow on a fire. And you know that there's another side. It's not, you don't believe any of that stuff. Okay. Okay, so we walk out under the last light bulb that's around. We walk down, oh, maybe a football field distance from the water. And we go left, which is towards this big black rock, which is actually a small hill. You could call it a small mountain, but I would say it's a small hill. Maybe elevation, maybe 900 feet, maybe. Okay, so we're walking along, and I'm like, where in the fuck are we going, man? There's nothing out here. It's just fucking dark. Behind us is wild, a ground that's like, intertidal zone where the tide goes up and it's got the funny grass and stuff. And then it goes, there's nothing like that all the way to the highway or the paved road. And then on the other side of the paved road is a place where they used to grow sugar cane, but the sugar cane field stopped way back over there, I don't know, a mile or 2 miles back up. So it's just, there's nothing. I'm like, what the fuck, right? And I'm walking along, I got the cane. I'm like, what's going to happen? So then Guillermo says to me, and I understand it. He goes, meditate here. I'm like, okay, cool. So meditating in the ocean, facing the ocean with my feet buried in the sand is, I've done that more than 1,000 times. So I'm like, okay, this is a great spot to meditate. So I get in my position. I'm doing that little prayer I said thing, but I'm doing it like the real thing, right? Now, I'm not expecting a UFO. I'm not thinking about calling in a UFO. I'm focusing on the Mother God and Father God and, the white light and the emerald green and. So, and there's nobody out there and it's pitch dark, but the stars and everything are just like in this background here. It's better than this background. So I'm there, I've got my eyes closed. I'm like this. I got my feet buried, maybe 4 inches. I'm wearing boots, like 4 inches, my Western boots into the sand, right? So I'm like connected. And blah, 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 blah. So I hear the wind is coming this direction and the ocean's this way. So the ocean's making noise and the wind's coming this direction. And somewhere way over there is somebody, I think it's not either a quad runner or like an old Honda 50 or something. And they're going in a circle. Okay. I'm thinking it's like maybe half a mile away, So I'm like, and I'm like, what? Shit, why is nobody's going to waste gas in this part of Peru driving in circles on the beach. So I'm thinking, because I couldn't, what is it, So listen closely. I open my eyes. I look at Guillermo. He looks at me. He's making the sounds. The sounds are coming out of him with his oral musculature. Okay. Now I'm a speech pathologist. These are mechanical sounds. These are like, metal and whatever. I don't know, but it's not flesh and blood and bones. So I'm looking at him going, holy shit, he's making that sound. What the hell? And he looks at me and says, look at Orion. Now, I know onions. I don't know Orion. I never heard of Orion. I know the Big Dipper. I can find the Big Dipper, So he says, look at Orion. I turn my head. I look directly at Orion. I look directly at a star that's Regal. I think it's Regal is the way it's spelled. And then the star or the light is here. It's not in front of my face, but it goes from a little teeny star to I don't know how big, because right. I would say if you had a ping pong ball and you held it in your hand like this at arm's length, it was that big. So it goes from a teeny tiny spar in the middle of nowhere, and then suddenly it's right there. Okay. And in my mind, I think, how big is that? Now, when I say how big is that? When I say that at the end, that's the last I remember anything. That's after that, I don't know what happened. Sometime later, I see this light, and it's the light bulb hanging on the post. And I'm like, oh, wow. And I look at Guillermo, and I said, what happened? And he was angry. He was disappointed and angry. He said, they said to call you Dollyman. Dollyman. He said to call you, they said to call you Dollyman. And I got the feeling that he was really pissed off about it. Okay, so I'm like, oh, so I'm not frightened. I'm not in shock. I'm processing that I walked way the hell out that way. And then the thing went, and then now I'm way back over here looking at this light bulb when I first come back to consciousness. So then we walked back the dirt road to the plastic chairs where we had the chicken, and Blanca's sitting there like this. And my cameraman, Jared, he's sitting there like this. And I start telling them what happened, and they can't make eye contact, can't talk or anything. They couldn't talk. I'm like, well, fuck, something happened. They're in a trance or something. I don't know what the fuck. Okay. Go back across the road. The night. Next morning, we're going to drive all the way back to Trujillo. All right. So we're driving back. And before we got in the car, I piled into that same, old beat up Toyota wagon. He says, my brother is an alcoholic and he needs a healing. We need to stop and you can go do a healing. And so I'm like, sure, fine. But at the municipal building the day before, there was a line of people that wanted healings. Okay, whatever that meant in their mind. Okay, they wanted healings. And the ones that I couldn't see were coming back the next day, which is the day we're driving back from this light thing. So I said, we got to get back there to get to see these other people. So yeah, don't worry. Okay, so we're driving, and he says, oh, his brother was a nice guy, and he's and I said, well, why don't I will give you the money to give him so he could take a taxi to come into the town, into the city center, and I'll do the healing at the hotel. He goes, no, he can't come down the stairs. I'm like, shoot. Now, I worked in Compton 10 years, worked in some pretty, challenging settings. And on the outskirts of Peru, it's kind of rough. Okay. You'll have, people by the side of the road with a fire cooking a meal. Or people at a stream doing the laundry. Okay. So nobody's got any bread. It's not going to happen. Okay. Nobody tosses anything out because whatever got there in the desert stays there and they're going to use it no matter what. So Jared's like, I don't care. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going back to the hotel. I'm like, oh, okay. He's a little bit, irritated about whatever happened. And Blanca's like, you're going to get robbed. Be careful. You're going to get robbed. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. So I said, well, no, I'm going to go see his, brother. He's up some stairs and he can't come down because he's an alcoholic. So they stop at the spot. It's just some, it's like a movie set of some weird place. It's sand and cement created into a village or something. And Jared doesn't get out of the car. And Blanca doesn't get out of the car. Like, we love you. See you later. Bye. We'll see you at the hotel. I'm like, oh, okay. So there I am with Guillermo. Now I don't speak Spanish. I'm standing at the street corner and the place has been flooded. So it's dusty. Everything's dust. If you're on the second floor, it's covered with dust. If you're on the ground floor, there's a big old shovel there where they've been shoveling out the silt and dirt out of the ground floor and they're shoveling out onto the sidewalk. And the streets are a little bit plowed, but everything's a cloud of dust, just dust everywhere. So I'm standing there, oh, where the fuck can I get a Coca-Cola or a cup of coffee? Oh, fuck, I want a hamburger, like kind of primitive. So he's going to bring me to his brother. All right. So we walk down, we make a right, we don't walk too far, about a half a block, and there's a building and it's cement. Duh. And you go in, and it's kind of like those rooms here, or market, or shoe shine, and somebody with a bunch of dead chickens hanging upside down and whatever. And so there's an entryway on the right. So he brings me into this room, and I'm like, this is not a fucking residence. What the fuck? I'm like, I'm ready to whip out the knife and stab the next fucker that comes up the back of me. So that big poster I saw, that 10 by 10, it's on the wall. And the room looks like, in my opinion, it looks like a large shower room that the plumbing wasn't installed. Okay, so it's not a bedroom, it's not a kitchen, it's not a dining room. It looks like a big, cement room, but spaces maybe for some low fixtures or something. So I'm like, kind of moseying to put my back towards the wall so nobody come at me from the back. And three guys come around the corner. Okay. Now, there's three guys coming around the corner. There's Guillermo sitting at a desk, and there's a big poster on the wall of me. What the fuck? And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So the three guys, there's two guys, I immediately think they're Jesuits. Absolutely. The clothes, the wool, everything, shoes. And then the third guy is some handsome guy in a suit that's like, it's from Beverly Hills kind of suit. It's like at least $1,000 for that suit in Beverly Hills, at least. Okay. And he's intelligent and he's good looking and he looks normal. The other two guys are maybe between 6 and 7 feet tall. Okay. And they're just kind of like standing there. So I'm like, well, I'm going to have to talk my way out of this one because I can't take on four guys, especially Peruvians. These are not pussies. So I'm standing there looking at them, and they're spotless. There's not one speck of dust on their shiny black shoes. Okay, I'm looking, what the fuck is that? Okay. So the gentleman with the fine suit, he runs a mine up in the hills. And he and these two men and Guillermo are here to meet with me. I'm like, And they want me to help them fight Israel. You heard that. The whole setup was to help. They wanted me to help them fight the nation of Israel. Okay. So I immediately get pissed off. What the fuck are you talking about? You're fucking nuts. You're a bunch of fucking idiots. So the miner, the gentleman in the fine suit who runs the mine, I said to him, put your phone on the desk. I put my phone on the desk, said, you come with me. Tell those guys to stay there. So I had the guy come with me. He spoke English. We walked outside. We walked to the far corner where it was like bustling with people and stuff. And I said to him, look, you guys are fucking idiots. You know what I mean? You guys are totally stupid because everything's monitored. Your phone's monitored, my phone's monitored, and you guys are totally fucking stupid. Don't ever do something this stupid to me again. Okay? Now, if you want to elevate consciousness, I will help you do that. Okay? And if you want me to help you elevate consciousness, call my phone and just talk about fruit or vegetables and then hang up. Went back in, looked at those guys, said, adios, amigos. Last I ever heard of them. Okay. All right. So I'm like, that was fucking weird, man. That was so fucking weird. So, okay, next day, actually that evening, I don't remember if it was that evening or the next day. It was probably the next day. We get the early flight back from Trujillo to Lima. The plane lands. What's on all the radio and TV? The Pope is coming to Trujillo. Okay, that's the big news. It wasn't that way before I left. Nobody's talking about anything like that. 2 days later, I land. The Pope's coming to Trujillo. Now, Peru is has an extensive history, current history with Catholicism, and it's ingrained on top of the genetics of all the natural spiritual stuff that was here for thousands of years. Okay, it's just this religion is the newest adjunct to what's going. Everybody's going forwards on stuff. So I'm not saying Catholicism is bad or good. I'm just saying it's ingrained. So when the Pope goes to Trujillo, they're go nuts. Okay, just totally nuts. Just South America, but they're not Lima. He went to Lima, but he's going to Trujillo was his goal. No, so I've never shared that with anybody publicly like this, and that's what I saw and felt and experienced. Now, what I think is those guys could have been men in black. They could have been Jesuits, but their shoes were too clean, you know. Also, I've had experiences with some off-planet beings and ultra-terrestrials, and they materialize. And so it's not like they're going to materialize with dust on their feet unless they wanted to. Okay. Guillermo, the guy on the beach who was making the sounds that sounded like a quad runner or a Honda 50, they called in the UFO who was with me when I had the no time, when I don't know what happened. He felt legitimate, like he was really doing what he was in his soul. That's what I feel. These are my feelings, my interpretations of what occurred. And there had to be some connection with the Pope for all the shit that was going on with the TV shows and this other crap out of the blue. And this thing from Orion. What the fuck's that about? So that's that's the story. That's actually what happened. Thank you for listening to this. And I don't know if this will ever be made public, but I want to make sure that I documented what happened so that my children and my grandchildren will know what happened. Spiritual Mag, you and all your loved ones are always in my prayers.